So after Superboy Prime made his return here in the last issue, he and Superman are supposed to be teaming up against the Darkseid Legion, but then things get a little bit sketchy. Let's discuss. So remember previously here that the time trapper version of Doomsday had just saved Superman from the Darkseid Legion's Saturn Girl and brought him to Superboy Prime with a plan. Both of them would team up to save the future, aka stop Darkseid. So when we pick back up on things here, we see a young Superboy Prime reading comics and talking to our Prime Earth Superman, sharing these heartfelt words that say, "He was always my favorite superhero. And not just because we shared a name, Clark Kent. I used to pretend I had powers just like his, and that one day that we would team up. But then the crisis happened. I got my chance to be Superman, for real. It was a dream come true, until it became a nightmare. I lost everything, my family, my friends, my whole world, and I got angry. I made some mistakes. Instead of following in Superman's footsteps, I became his arch enemy. Eventually, I was given a redemption arc, and I used it to help save Superman. I sacrificed myself to stop some lame Batman ripoff, or so I thought. I woke up in a new timeline, made just for me, one where everything I lost was returned to me, my friends and family, and my powers. I used them to be a hero, but there was still one thing that I wanted. A team up with Superman." So Superman's like, "Bro, who are you talking to?" To which, of course, Prime is like, you? But the thing is that Superman has not forgotten what Prime has done, and he's like, "You killed people." To which Prime casually replies back and is like, "Man, that was like 2 reboots ago." And then he adds on, he's like, "And besides, if everyone I killed has been brought back from the dead since then, did I really kill them?" So then Superman turns to Time Trapper and is like, "Bro, like, what is the meaning of all of this? Like, why did you save me from Saturn Girl just to bring me back to him?" Which is when Time Trapper explains, he's like, "Superboy Prime is an anomaly outside of known time and space. Darkseid's Legion will not be prepared for him. You both have experience with the Legion, but while you will see familiar faces and hesitate to do what needs to be done, Prime, he will not." So then Superman can get the sense here that Time Trapper's not going to be coming with them, which is when Time Trapper explains, he's like, "I am needed else when, and where you go, I cannot follow. If Darkseid catches me, then all will be lost. This is only the beginning of the game, Superman, a game that will come with sacrifices if we are to survive." So as Time Trapper leaves, the Superman is asking Prime the question. He's like, "How exactly are we supposed to be able to get to the 31st century now without him?" And then that's when Superboy Prime reveals his plan. He's like, and then he literally starts punching through time and space. Because since the time stream right now is currently being watched, they're forced to kind of take a different route. And because the place that they're in right now is a pocket dimension, it's not really real. It's fairly easy for him to be able to do so. And Superboy Prime is like, "Come on, get Silver Age with me." So as they travel here through time and space, Prime tells Superman that they need to find Booster Gold. But here's the thing, Superman doesn't know who Booster Gold is, because ever since Darkseid, quote unquote, died, Booster Gold has been erased from everyone's memory. So Superman has no idea who this guy is. So then Prime explains to him, he's like, "All right, a lot of people think that Booster Gold was a joke, but if you really pay attention, he's one of the greatest superheroes of all time, and we need to save him." So Superman's like, "Well, we're heading into a dangerous situation, Prime. Why are you acting like none of this is a big deal?" And that's when Prime explains, he's like, "Because I already know how the story is going to end. We'll get to the future, find Booster Gold, but be interrupted by Darkseid's Legion. They will outnumber us and kick our behinds. Our backs will be up against the wall. And just as they're about to eat our lunch, not one, not two, not three, but all the different legions from a bunch of different possible futures will show up in this massive 2-page spread and save the day. We'll all team up and defeat Darkseid's Legion." And that big granite bleep, but then right there, as they punch through the time, or I should say, as they punch through time and space, what they find is not epic, as Superboy Prime was saying. because it's nothing but devastation. We see bodies upon bodies of different Legion members. There's rubble and there's fire. And as Superman is heartbroken here because he sees the sight here of Imra on the ground. And this is where Prime mentions, he's like, they took out that Saturn girl, and that's like 3 dead Colossal boys. They're really going for shock value here. And he continues on, he's like, Superman, whatever is happening in your present day is making this your future. This is the 31st century. You spent time with the Legion of superheroes before when you were Superboy. Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, and Cosmic Boy, they were fans like me, and they just wanted to meet you. But instead, they showed you a future that was full of hope, a beacon of what the world could be. It was like a cheat code. They showed you that no matter how hard things got in your time, it was all worth it, that the future was safe with the Legion. And now it's all gone. The fight with all the different Legions against Darkseid's army must have been so cool. I wish I could have seen it. To which Superman's like, bro, like, it sounds like you're enjoying this. But Superboy Prime is like, nah, that's not what I mean. I mean, who doesn't love a fun story with a bunch of punching in it, twists and turns, but killing this many characters is a lot for even me. But for Superman, he's like, yo, these were my friends. They're not characters. And then you remember something that Time Trapper said. He's like, what did he mean when he said that you'll be able to do what I could not? Which is when Superboy Prime is like, I got a redemption arc, remember? And Superman picks up when he's like, he meant that you could kill them, that you could kill Darkseid's Legion. But before Prime could even respond back, there's a voice that comes in that says, the War of Legions is over. And when they turn, they see Cosmic Boy here holding a shovel, as he continues on by saying, and we lost. We all lost. All that is left is to bury our dead. So Superman rushes over to him, and Cosmic Boy is checking, he's like, just to confirm that this is actually really Superman. And Superman is wondering, like, are you the only survivor? Which is when Cosmic Boy simply just tells him, okay, follow me. And when they arrive here at this new location, they see what's left of the Legionnaires. And Superman here is first greeted by Dawnstar, who tells him, we managed to hide away a few Legionnaires in a secure location, but Gold Lantern, Kinetics, Polar Boy, and I decided to stay behind to keep an eye on Darkseid's army. Now, naturally here, Polar Boy is like, what the heck? Why have you brought this psycho here to us? Speaking here of Superboy Prime. To which Prime explains, he's like, nah, man, I'm a good guy now, you substitute. Cosmic Boy tells him to calm down because right now, in order for them to be able to set the stage here for their counterattack, they need both of them. And he starts leading them to this place where he says, Brainiac has a plan. To which Prime is like, yo, what Brainiac are we talking about here? And when they get there, it's explained to him here as we see all these Brainiacs. It's like, during the Legion War, we managed to catch one of Darkseid's forces. This Brainiac is not from our timelines. He's from a world crafted by Darkseid. Every cell is infused with his presence, but we've been able to hack this Brainiac systems just enough to learn that they are using the old-time substitute as their home base. If we lobotomize it, we can learn more. And then the last one makes a statement here that says, so I take it that you haven't learned humanity yet in your timeline. So with Superboy Prime is like, all right, this is exactly what we need. One more person who thinks that they're the smartest bleep in the room. We're doomed. And when Supes tries to tell him like, yo, chill out, don't talk like that. That's not helpful at all. That's when we hear this on the voice that says, the brat's right, Superman. And when we see who it is here, it's Starman. He's like, yo, the future is dead. Hope is gone. Nothing we did mattered. All those lives we've saved them for this torture. This is Legion. They're like us, but not Superman. They enjoyed hurting us. It was fun for them. Where they came from, they never had you to show them the way to inspire them. They only had Darkseid. We're just kids pretending to be superheroes. They are the Legion now. There is only one future, and it's Darkseid's. Now, Prime is ready to move on from this version here of the Legionnaires, as he's like, yo, I wouldn't stress over these guys too much because there's no real heavy hitters here. It's just you and me against them. But as Superman remembers all the journeys that he's been on here with Starman, he once again wants to inspire hope. And that's what Superman is all about. He's like, you're a part of a long line of heroes, a legacy that goes back to before me, a part of our past, present, and future. I know the Legion started because you were inspired by me, but I was inspired by you, by the Legion. You have earned your role as the future's heroes countless times without my help. The future is unwritten. We still have a chance, even now in your darkest hour. every bit of light is capable of defeating that darkness. But Kinetics is like, they outnumber us by like a lot. And Gold Lantern is like, yo, my ring is running out of power. But if this is our last stand, I'm glad to know that we have Superman leading the way. And Dawnstar is like, all right, what do you want us to do? Which, of course, the main mission here, as Superman says, is we find Booster Gold and stop this horror from ever happening. Now, as they head back out here into the field, or if you want to even call this a field, Brainiac 5 here mentions, he's like, you're holding this Booster Gold at this time institute. And normally time travel is illegal, but Darkseid Legion has been using it to jump around the timeline and doing their master's bidding. To which, of course, Prime is like, yo, well, why are they even keeping them alive? Why not just kill him? And Super's like, well, there's only one way to find out. And Superman, realizing the advantage that they have right now, he's like, okay, well, we need to be cautious because this could be a trap for the Legionnaires. But for him, he's like, they don't know that he's there and they don't know that Prime is there either. But then Prime says this, he's like, hold on, wait a minute for a second. He's like, my nerd brain just caught a plot hole. If Cosmic Boy has magnetic powers, why was he using his hands on the shovel to dig the graves? And it's in that moment right there where Cosmic Boy reveals himself to not be Cosmic Boy after all, and reveals that he is the chameleon. And immediately he just drives his sharp-edged hands right through Brainiac 5. And Chameleon continues on, he's like, so much for the element of surprise, Superman. I gotta tell you, you're making this too easy. We don't want to kill you. We want to break your spirit. Because if you lose hope, which has been their theme since the beginning, right? They don't want to just kill Superman. They want to break his hope. That's what I believe DC's KO was supposed to be all about, essentially. Well, part of it. All right, let's move on. Because he's like, if you lose hope, Darkseid will be unstoppable. And it's in this moment here where he transforms himself again. And he's like, you never hurt a friend, right? But for Superboy Prime, that was his moment. Because he's like, well, I would. So now Superman is broken up here about Brainiac 5 dying. But Prime is like, bro, we got to save those tears for later. We got to get to Booster Gold. So now Supes is angry and he's charging in. And he's like, Darkseid, show yourself. You want to fight me? I'm here. And when they get on the inside here, they see Booster Gold tied up. And Booster Gold, he looks at them and he's like, Superman, you got my message. And he's like, send Invalidus back work. And that was something that we saw happen here back in the Summer of Superman special. But as we continue on here, Superman is like, okay, that depends. Are you Booster Gold? To which, of course, naturally shocks him. And he's like, geez, like everything's really become what have I done for you lately, hasn't it? A guy takes a few months off and everyone forgets him. And he continues on, he's like, yo, Superman, you really shouldn't be here. This is exactly what Darkseid planned. And when Superman is fishing for like questions, he's like, what exactly happened? And he explains it this way. He's like, it started when the new Justice League was forming. You invited me to join the team yourself. I remember that moment in time, that it was a special one, but something changed. After Darkseid died, I volunteered to go into the rift created in his wake. I had the right kind of chrono energy to make the trip to the other world safe, at least according to Mr. Terrific. Well, he was wrong. I didn't go to another world. I went to the future. Skeets was gone, so I had no ride back. I managed to stay ahead of them for about 2 years while they waged war with the different legions from across time. But I couldn't just hide. I saw the good legions losing and had to help. That's how they caught me. To which Superman is like, yo, you've been here for about 2 years, but Booster explains, he's like, that was before they caught me. I have no idea how long they had me chained up. How long has it been for you is what he asks. To which Super's like, it doesn't really matter. We got to get you home. But then there's a voice that comes in again and says, you don't have a home to go back to, Superman. And it's in this moment here where we see Saturn Girl and the rest of Darkseid's Legion pop up. And she mentions, she's like, the future is Darkseid's. And it's only a matter of time before the past and the present are his as well. Time Trapper thought he was cute grabbing you, but he just set you up to fail. And you know it, don't you? My powers can sense it in your mind, the doubt, the worry, the burden. But don't worry, we're not going to kill you. Our master wants you to watch as he ends everything. But in this moment here, Superman is like, the only thing I'm worried about is what I'm going to do when I get my hands on Darkseid. But it's in that moment here where he gets blasted in the back, as Lightning Lad here takes care of Booster Gold in what looks like the nastiest way. But then who did this to Superman here is what gets interesting, because the words say, That speech about legacy and the future was inspiring Superman, but your heart blinds you to the truth. We lost. And you know what they say, as we see Superboy Prime holding Superman here by the neck. If you can't beat him, join him. So I'll be honest here. Initially, I was like, what? Why would he do that? But then I realized, I'm like, this is probably all a ruse, right? Once again, they don't know that Superboy Prime has probably turned good, or it would not really be too surprising if he turned to the bad side. So in my opinion, I think that Prime is just playing him so that he can get the upper hand and get the advantage. What do you think here? Leave it down below in the comments. Also, want to give a special shout out here to all of our Patreon members and also our members here on YouTube. We appreciate you guys and your support here continuously on the channel. And if you want to be able to support us too as well, so that Keepin the Comic can continue to keep going, then also consider becoming a YouTube channel member, or you can also become a Patreon member as well. The links for those are going to be down below in the description. Well, actually for YouTube, you can actually hit the join button down below right next to this video. Don't forget to leave a like here on this video for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin the Comic. Bye!